Welcome back everybody, it is patch 6.10, and for this build we're going to make use of the buffed Bloodrazor. In 6.9, when it was released, it only had 40% attack speed and 3% on hit. Also in this patch, Jungle XP was buffed, which is great if you have good clear speed, like we will definitely have. So in early game, our goal with this build is to just do the most damage we can and try to get an early snowball rolling. Somewhere in mid-game, and it could be earlier or later depending on how good you're doing, we start to transition into a tank by picking up a Titanic Hydra. This will also increase our clear speed if we want to split push or just farm the jungle extremely fast. Then after that, we only need to build health and defense until the end of the game, but meanwhile our damage will continue to increase as we get more health because of the Titanic Hydra passive. Before we jump into the game, I just want to briefly go over the build order. I like to start with Hunter's Talisman and a refillable potion so that I only need 900 gold for my early farming core, which is the Stalker's Blade and the Hunter's Potion. With the Stalker's Blade you get the bonus jungle experience, and with the Hunter's Potion you can farm the jungle forever without running out of mana. If you have extra money after these, you could also buy these. And then after you farm up and get your Bloodrazor finished, it's a good time to start ganking a lot more and getting dragons. It's very easy to solo dragon once you got the Bloodrazor finished. For the boots, if you're trying to carry the game, go for swiftness, but if you need the defense, go for Mercs or Ninja Tabi. Now, after the jungle item, if you have an early lead around 10 minutes, maybe you just have 1 or 2 kills, I would say that's good enough, go for one of these lifesteal items. If you are behind, this lifesteal is not going to help you that much because you're not going to survive long enough to make very good use of it. If you are against squishy champions, go for Death's Dance, but if the enemy team has like 2 or 3 tanks, go for Blade of the Ruin King because of the percent health passive. No matter what, always get the Titanic Hydra before you get your tank items. This is going to help us with our clear speed if we want to split push, and it's going to help our damage to keep scaling as we keep getting more health. So after the Titanic Hydra, pick at least 1 health item. Usually I get 2 of them. The only time I'm not going to get 2 of them is when I'm trying to counter specifically AD or AP, then I'm going to pick 1 health item and then 1 of these. But if it's a kind of a balanced defensive situation, usually pick 2 from this section. Some example builds, if you're trying to carry against squishies, there's that, and if you're trying to carry against tanks, the only difference is the Blade of the Ruin King. Now, if you are behind early, you're skipping the lifesteal item, so straight to the Titanic Hydra, and then you have 3 defensive items instead of 2. If you're trying to counter specifically AP or AD, this is what I'm talking about with the situational items for the second option. These are pretty self-explanatory. For the runes, the quintessences are attack speed, marks are attack damage, yellows are flat armor as always, and blues I have 6 scaling cooldown reduction and 3 scaling magic resist. I like to take the 10 CDR in the runes because we don't have warrior and we're going to have not as much CDR. So I don't take flat CDR because we don't need the CDR early, because we're already going to be using all of our mana. If we had more CDR early on, we're not going to really need it. We can't use it. The masteries, our keystone is Warlord's Bloodlust. Gain increasingly more lifesteal based on your missing health against champions. So when you're fighting against somebody, they might think for the first half of the fight that the fight's pretty even. But then, when you get lower health, you're going to get more lifesteal, the lower you get. So it's kind of like a bait machine, kind of like Olaf, just not as ridiculous. Starting at Gromp, my Q is already activated, so when Gromp spawns I will smite it, attack it twice, and then activate Q after the second attack. This way we can get back-to-back burns for a very fast clear, and if you put the Qs too close together, they will not stack, so you gotta wait 2 attacks for that. Now, kill the large blue monster before the small ones, because if you want to keep your passive fully stacked, you would run out of mana if you killed the small ones first. You can also kite the blue buff around a little bit because his attack range is slightly shorter than ours. You just got to make sure not to screw up your passive like I did. Make sure to alternate your Q and W to keep that attack speed up from your passive. Now for the small wolves, it takes 1 Q and 2 auto attacks to kill them. So each of the small wolves will get that. And after the wolves, I will get level 3, which means we are able to gank. But so I mean, if I wanted to gank bot lane, if it was urgent, I would head down there. But in this case, I'm just gonna go grab my red buff and then head up to either top or mid. Seeing that mid laner is LeBlanc and I'm Udyr, there's a pretty low chance that I'm gonna be able to lock her down. So I'm gonna be focused on top lane more than mid. For the fight, I'm gonna make sure my passive is fully stacked up. So I'm gonna bear stance, shield, and then bear stance again. So passive fully stacked. I have more move speed and attack speed. This guy is not gonna get away from my red buff, ghost, and stuns. So easy first blood. Didn't even really need any damage from my teammate. Now, after he's dead, I know that if I wanted to invade the enemy jungle, I'm not going to be collapsed on by the top laner. So it's a good time to invade if you can kill either top or mid. And if I did find the enemy jungle alone, I would probably be able to kill him. Because I'm full health, I have double buffs. I know he doesn't have a blue buff. So I'm just going to go ahead and farm this, really not scared of him showing up at all, and I'm kind of hoping he does. But he's actually bot lane, so I know that he's not going to be anywhere in this area in the near future. I would take that Gromp, but Yasuo just showed up again, so I'm going to try for him again. So stack up my passive again, bear stance, turtle. This time I'm actually going to use Tiger to engage, because if I used bear stance first, I would have only been able to get off 1 Tiger burn before he got into tower range. So since I started with Tiger, I was able to get 2 burns on him and kill him again. I will always recall between 900 and 1300, because you can get that entire section from the item set with 1300. I like to pick up a sweeper at my first recall, because for ganking, I don't want to waste any time. If a bush is warded, I can instantly figure it out and not sit there forever not knowing. So this guy's trying to make up for me stealing his stuff, but I just got his flash. Where'd Aatrox go? Probably gonna recall, so I'm just gonna steal his stuff again. And even if he didn't recall, well, mid laner has no health, he has no health, nobody's gonna do anything about it. Take wolves again. Headed up to Gromp. Gromp's already taken. Yasuo is there again. Look at that, he has low health and I have ghost again. If you stick to this wall, you can get through without only taking 2 hits. And right here I'm just juking around trying to dodge his tornado. He ended up dying before he even got his tornado off. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of farming. Level 6 is the earliest you can solo dragon if you're going Bloodrazor. If you're going warrior, you could get 1 longsword and solo it at level 5, I think. But if you're going Bloodrazor, just wait till level 6. So I just played it cool here, played it calm, and luckily he didn't show up. Got that ward and left. So I don't have smite, so if he actually came in, I would have had to actually try to kill him and not try to kill dragon, because if he has smite, that's a very easy dragon for him to steal. Now let's try to give bot lane some love. Alright, everybody's looking pretty good so far. Mid lane, try to give it a gank, but I really don't think it's going to work. I guess Yasuo already gave up on top lane, because I guess He's on tilt after being camped so hard, which is understandable. And maybe he can't even survive in lane anyways because Nasus is taking out that tower already. But I killed Yasuo again with that smite. And I'm out of mana now, so I'm really not able to catch this LeBlanc. And I decided to fall back because Aatrox was just bot. And if I have no mana, there's really nothing I can do, and I would probably end up dying. One good thing about Ghost is that his cooldown is so low. I've already used it 3 times this game. I was going to recall, but I guess I'll just farm a little bit, just because I got chased away. Now, I got enough for the Bloodrazor, and probably boots. No, I don't have enough. So I'm just going to head on to some damage. Now, if you don't know yet if you're going to be going for the lifesteal item or not, you could just buy 2 longswords, because those could be built into the Titanic Hydra, or they could be built into the Death's Dance or Blade of the Rune King. Any of those options need 2 longswords. In this case, I do know that I'm going for the lifesteal item because I'm so fed already. So it's going to be Death's Dance because they don't really have any tanks. Yasuo is just roaming around now. If you can put somebody on tilt like that, I say it's a successful game. It's not like I'm toxic to him, I just ganked him so well that he lost his ability to keep his cool. Another kill on Yasuo.
Rampage. Shut down.
Now, I'm going to be spending more time in the enemy jungle than mine because there's no risk of me dying, and if I can just farm his jungle, he's not going to be able to farm his jungle. Trying to get this LeBlanc. Very unlikely that was going to work out, but sometimes people are shopping and you never know, so decided to give it a shot. Just crossed over mid lane because I wanted to head over to this blue buff. And his red buff is actually going to be spawning right now too. So right after this, I'm just going to pop Ghost again and sprint down there. And if you're counter jungling, don't kill the small camps because that way they don't respawn. It puts the enemy jungler even further behind. This Yasuo, I know he wants to. He almost comes into the bush, but he made the right choice to avoid it. So take this red buff, and looks like bot lane is a possible kill on that Alistar. So the AD carry is dead. Alistar seems to be recalling, so let's try to stop his recall just a little bit, because if I can delay him, give my teammates a chance to show up, we can dive him eventually. But Yasuo, again, is down here. So decided to focus the Yasuo instead of the Alistar. Pop up right behind the Jhin but when he starts his ult. Pretty lucky timing. And I was just going to recall here, waiting for Yasuo to come out of his base, but that didn't happen, and I noticed Dragon was spawning soon, so I decided to go take that. You can also solo Rift Herald after finishing Bloodrazor. Between levels 8 and 10 is when you would do it, and it depends on how fed you are. In this case, I could solo it right now, but I'm just going to clear the jungle in moving in that direction, and then I'll take out the Rift Herald once I get there. So handed over that blue buff to Fizz, just going to clear everything. Take my red buff, it'll help a little bit with the Rift Herald. And I tell Nasus to come over so he can have that. I got Nasus so fed, and I think if I give him Rift Herald, it's just going to be GG. So, like I said, that's an easy solo if you wanted it for yourself for split pushing. It's the new Rift Herald buff is good for split pushing mostly, not grouping. And Nasus is probably going to be doing that a lot, so he can go ahead and have it. Aatrox was just over here. It looks like since the top laner rage quit his lane, the jungle had to go cover that lane, and that just makes it easier for me to steal everything. You can see he didn't even reset his wolves, so I guess I'll just go ahead and reset these so I can steal them again. Let's head down to bot lane because there's 3 enemies down there. Jhin is our easiest target, but Alistar is the only one that we can actually catch out here, so it's an easy kill with the Bloodrazor passive. Do a lot of percent health damage, where tanks are not even an issue anymore. Especially if you go Blade of the Ruined King, but even with just Bloodrazor, you can still take out tanks. I am squishy, I'm glass cannon right now, so I can't just dive in front line. I gotta wait for the engage from my teammates if we're actually gonna have a team fight. Because right there, Udyr just got bursted by LeBlanc and Jhin. Finally gonna recall and spend all this money. See, this is what happens when you can farm forever and never run out of mana. You get a lot of money. And you definitely should spend it before you get up to that much, because if you have so much money and you don't spend it, it's like you might as well just not even have the money if you're not going to use it. It could be how you throw away your lead and lose a game if you don't spend your money soon enough. Okay, Nasus. Kicking everybody's ass down here as we take out mid and hib. So this game isn't going to last much longer. Once we got the 2 inhibs, we're going to take out this dragon just because, and we're going to take out Baron. Once we get Baron, that's going to be the end. Just run down to the last inhibitor. Don't push the lanes that already have the inhibitors down, because those are going to push themselves. And if you go to those lanes, the enemies can just go to those lanes and they don't need to cover multiple lanes. Since this game ended so early without me really getting tanky and finishing Titanic Hydra even, I do have some extra footage just to show you. It's the same build, just end game. And this video I did already upload, but you may or may not have seen it. Soloing Rift Herald at level 8, that's possible. Not very many champions can do that. And I'm just gonna try to split push now with this Tiamat. So take out all the towers as the enemies are pushing mid. Just take out all the towers in bot lane, and gonna try to get the inhibitor too. Since I have all this percent health damage, I can just shred that Scion. He's the enemy jungler with the Cinder Hulk. And I'm not even that fed. But he can't do anything to save his base. So I got that inhibitor. Now watch this lifesteal. This is the great thing about this build late game. All of our physical damage with our Titanic Hydra is gonna do healing with our Death Stance. So if you're in a team fight doing damage to multiple targets, you're gonna be healing from all of that. Irelia thinks he's gonna save the day. Turns out, definitely not gonna save the day. In team fights, you can just sprint straight at the squishies and try to burst them. You can see it doesn't take long. Even though you're so tanky, you still have pretty good damage. That's going to be all for this guide. Hope you guys enjoyed, and leave a like if you did. Let me know if you guys have any questions, because I read all the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.